Another brick fan here with a look at a Star Wars set. This is AT-ST Raider. This is set 75254, was released in October 2019, has 540 pieces, 4 minifigures, and cost about $50 when it was released. This is the first set released based on the Disney Plus Mandalorian series. We'll take a close look at each of the minifigures in a minute, but let's take a look at the main build first. Here is the main build of this set, and as you can see, it's a much more colorful version of an AT-ST. And if you've seen the series, I don't want to do too many spoilers here, but it's been long enough probably if you wanted to have seen the series, you have. This is kind of a pieced together version of an AT-ST. As you can see, the legs have some different kind of patchwork on them, some red pieces, some brown pieces, and that is deliberate in this case. Focusing just in on the cockpit of it, there is a lot of stickers on this, as you would expect. So this top plate has a sticker on it for some additional detailing. There's some blast doors here that can cover up the area where the pilots sit. Those are just on a little hinge piece there, clip. Open it up. Inside the AT-ST, there's spot for 2 minifigures. You could fit one in the pilot's seat and then one right behind him. Looking down in there, you can see a control panel, which is also a sticker on a 2x2 slope. I like how they did the shaping with some really good creative use of hinge pieces and stuff. Some definite greebling. On the sides here, there's a Nexonite shield, a ingot there. A couple of those done in the gray. Lots of these 2x2 panels and stickers all over the place. So we have these lasers here, the lasers in the front. On the other side, since this is kind of pieced together, this is either a different kind of weapon, maybe a different representation of a weapon, or perhaps they don't have the weapons at all anymore for that. Looking down in the front, you can just barely see the spring-loaded shooters, which are down here. And on the back of the head, you can see a lot of the Technic sculpting from it. But you also see these 2 cone pieces here, and those actually fire the missiles. So that's a nice little touch. If we scroll down just a little bit, in the back here, you'll see some tool storage or greebling done with, these are like paint rollers. Lots more stickers. The head is geared, so you can turn it using this back here, or obviously it's free enough that you can turn it on its own. So that's pretty nice that you can articulate the head through some Technic gearing. The legs are different on each side. So you see this right leg is predominantly brown with stickers all over the place here as well. And it does articulate a little bit for some posability of the walker, so you can make it look like it is walking or moving. On the other side, you see this is more pieced together, so there's red pieces all along here. And there's also some whip pieces used here to represent some exterior hydraulics or something like that. Obviously this was pieced back together from its original form, which is, of course, another nice little aspect of this particular walker. As I mentioned in the intro, this set comes with 4 minifigures. They include the Mandalorian, or Din Djarin, Cara Cynthia, or Cara Dune, and 2 Colothian Raiders. Both Cara and the Mandalorian are carrying large weapons, both built up on standard weapons using some lightsaber hilts. So one on the end here in this kind of metallic gray look. And then the Mandalorian has a brown lightsaber on a standard pistol, and a robotic arm here to make for these larger weapons. There's the rifle and then the Mandalorian's weapon here. Both good minifigures. I like the metallic gray printing here on the Mandalorian's helmet. He has brown, the darker reddish brown arms, some very good printing on his torso here that is done in a light tan color. Some nice waist printing and then printing down the legs here. There's a belt and a bandolier on him. Kara's in, I believe, which I think amount to patches of a rebel uniform, since she was a rebel fighter. She has a kind of a darker skin tone, which I think looks really good. A nice face. Seen this hairpiece several times in different colors with the one kind of lock of hair over one shoulder, which I think looks really good. The Mandalorian, of course, does not have a face. He's just a black minifigure head, which I think is appropriate because he's never supposed to take the mask off in anybody's presence, so no one would really know what his face looked like. Moving around the figures, you see this gray cape, which matches quite well to the legs here for the Mandalorian. There's some additional sculpting in the back of the helmet. It is good to note that this is kind of a Mandalorian helmet, so there is a spot for an accessory, like, you know, traditionally Boba Fett is wearing an eyepiece that kind of flips down and allows him to do targeting and stuff. That could be applied to this helmet if you have to have some extras of those around. The back of Kara is printed up nicely here, and she does have an alternate expression with a more angry face here. Good printing of the kind of armor that she's wearing, or that patchwork of the rebel uniform that I was talking about. But a good look at these first two of our heroes from the story. Here are our two Kalutian raiders. And again, you see them with, one has this larger weapon, which is, again, one of the standard blasters. One of the standard blasters with a lightsaber hilt. They're done in the reddish brown. Our other raider is carrying a couple of these pistol pieces. Just a couple of these kind of pistol looking grips here. Taking a look at our two raiders, you see they both have the same pants that are done kind of in that olive green color with some tan and black printing on them, which I think look pretty good. The two torso pieces are slightly different. You'll see this one here has the gray arm, so I'm assuming this is a vest of some kind, and then he's got a little necklace he's wearing around and some belts. Our other raider is wearing more of a jacket. Looks like he has a similar decorated necklace, maybe a little different underneath his jacket there. You can see his belt kind of coming through the jacket. He has this interesting neck piece that goes around, kind of reminiscent of the bottom of the new styled helmet for Darth Vader. So it looks to me kind of half complete. Maybe he's wearing the bottom half of a full face covering helmet. And he doesn't come with the other half, so a decent look. Nice scowling expression on him, a lot of scarring or wrinkling on his face. Our other raider is wearing a metallic gray helmet. So from the looks of it, both raiders have the same face, at least at first glance here. Does have an armor piece over his shoulder. As we move around the figures, there's no side printing for either one. This one here has the jacket again, the kind of bandolier look for the belt and the shoulder sash, and then just the belt here and that shorter vest over his side. Neither one of them has an alternate expression. So now that we've looked at all the minifigures, let's go back and I'll give you my final thoughts on the entire set. Overall, I really liked this set. I think it's a good looking walker. It's done very similar to some of the other walkers that have been released over the years. But I do appreciate, even though applying all the stickers is kind of a pain, I do appreciate the detailing that it brings to the walker, and certainly gives it that pieced together look, which is very accurate to the movie. I think the use of those whip pieces that you see, there's 3 of them actually that work with that left leg, shows the kind of jury-rigged nature of this particular set. I think the minifigures are good and very appropriate. It's of course nice to get the Mandalorian. And then I thought that Cara Dune was a great character in the series. So that's a nice minifigure to get as well. As far as the price to part ratio, this is one of the few Star Wars sets where I think the price to part ratio is actually really good. Falls into that under 10 cents per piece. And 4 minifigures for a $50 set seems appropriate to me. So I think this is a good value. It makes for a pretty good display piece. As a play piece, I think it's okay. There is some posability in the legs. I think there's a lot of fragility. There's a lot of the pieces kind of fall off or can be knocked off pretty easily. So it's not a rough and tumble type toy like some of the stronger ships and things that have a lot stronger internal structure that kind of keep them together. But as a display piece, it certainly looks really good. There's some fun building techniques for this particular model, which make it a good set to put together. So overall, I think it's a very good value at $50. So I hope you've enjoyed my thoughts on this set. I'm going to get going on my next video. Until then, happy building. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content. If you're interested in more Star Wars reviews, I've left my Star Wars playlist linked here on the screen.